We are live. Hello, everyone. We are talking embracing your future. Really excited to talk about this one. I'm going to let everyone just take a second and trinkle in. I'm going to add a little pinned comment as everyone is just getting settled in. And please, as always, let me know where you're joining us from. I am right now in pretty cloudy. The sun is starting to peek through. Pretty cloudy, slightly sunny. Southern California. For me, it's midday in my neck of the woods. Embrace your future. Okay, I'm pinning this comment for us. Let's get that in, posted, pinned. Beautiful. Okay, so I already saw in my eye that there is, let's see what countries we're representing today. I see Toronto, I see Poland, Turkey, Atlanta. I'll be in Atlanta soon. Barcelona. Oh, Barcelona speaks to my soul. Boston, Spain, Iran, Massachusetts, Hampshire, UK, Brisbane, Australia. Really want to go there. Poland, Houston, H-Town, Vancouver, India, Brazil, Colombia, Tokyo. Oh my gosh. Always inspired to see where everyone's from. One, because wow, we can connect globally with like-minded souls. We can create tribe and friendships and supportive structures with people all over the world. And also, it also informs my travel must-go list, all the places I hope to see in the world. Norway, Connecticut, San Diego, Ukraine, New Jersey, Ireland, Canada, the Netherlands, Detroit, Brazil, South Africa, fellow LA, Los Angelinos, Seattle, Washington State, Philly. Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Uruguay, Argentina. Okay, let's go. I get so excited about the world. Thank you for joining us today on Self-Care Simplified. Every week, as always, I am the host of this IG Live segment, Debbie Brown. I'm the Chief Impact Officer at Chopra Global and the voice of daily meditation on our beautiful Chopra app, which I hope everyone has. And if you don't, not just because I'm on it, I highly, highly recommend getting our app. It is powerful. You have daily meditation with me. You have meditation with our Chief Meditation Officer, Roger Gabriel. And you have so many meditations from Deepak himself that are just transcendent. Such beautiful, supportive tools for your journey wherever you are on the pathways. So that's in the iOS store. I think will be available for Android very, very soon. But that is another way that you can connect with Chopra work is through our app. And also here on Instagram, also at our live events, our retreats. We have a few coming up. So if you feel called to be with us in person, we do really special work at our retreats. Really, really incredible stuff. So you can go to chopra.com/retreats to find out more on that. So today we are talking about embracing your future. Now, specifically, all of August, we have been having conversations in service to embracing our full lives, really understanding our ego, the role that our ego plays in our lives, and also the role that the ego can play as a powerful spiritual teacher. We've been talking about how to embrace your past, which sometimes can feel really challenging depending on what that past is made up of. But it can be so beautifully supportive into understanding the greater vision, the greater view of our lives, and bring us into our deepest level of healing. And we also went over embracing our present. And today we're focused on embracing our future. And so within our app, on the Chopra app, we have a multi-day, multi-part meditation series called Embracing Your Life, where we speak specifically with meditations that are guided to all the themes that we've been speaking about here on Instagram Live. So it's a beautiful companion. Highly recommend that you check those out and start them whenever you feel ready, whenever you feel called. So you can check us out there. And we've also been expanding on these conversations in Clubhouse. So I'm not sure who is all into Clubhouse yet, but I am loving it over there. It's more of an audio-based social media platform. So it's something that you can put on, put down, listen to the conversations that are happening, join the conversations that are happening. And that's in our Chopra Club on Clubhouse, which you can link to in our bio. So we'll be having this conversation there with some guest speakers on Thursday morning, PST time. So embracing your future, what does it mean to embrace the future? I really want to center this part of what that looks and feels like with a little bit of a different view. And I want to start with dismantling the current view many of us tend to have when it comes to thinking about our futures. Pretty much all of us, or at least a vast majority, on Earth, depending on the country, I can speak from my experience growing up in the United States. So much emphasis is placed on our future from a very young age. From when we are just starting to play with toys, what do you want to be when you grow up? What are you going to do? Who are you going to be? Right? All of these really vast questions, especially at a time where your life experience is so limited and you don't have context for anything. This thought that we have to come into this declaration of who we'll be or what we'll do. And even this thought that is like one choice we get to make, that's something rigid, that once we make that choice, well, we got to stick with it. That's the bed we made, And so I want to really explore this conversation with those pieces and those components of how we've been trained to see ourselves in our future dismantled. I don't think that system is necessarily a system that is serving for us. And it's definitely one that, especially as we came out of the pandemic in this moment in human history, we get to do away with on our terms. We really do have a chance for higher levels of creative expression for ourselves in this moment in time. And so for us to start having this conversation about embracing our future, I would love to really sink into the fact that we don't have to hold this conversation or ourselves in those rigid structures, in those structures that demand that we make one choice, that demand that it's the final choice, and that, we have to know it all or we have to be able to predict it. So that is off to the side. That's not how we're going to see ourselves for this time together, and that's not how we're going to see our lives. Another thing that I want to offer up as we hold this space with ourselves, as we hold this space with ourselves, as we come into our waking, dreaming state, envisioning the lives, our highest visions for our lives, I also want to bring forward something that tends to make us biologically have a little bit of struggle or a little bit of charge around having to have things known to us, or around having to have a greater vision of our futures in a way that is like controlled, fully thought out, makes sense. And that function, there is this thing that we do as human beings where we feel that we have to predict outcomes. The reason sometimes that we have that deep pull into having all the answers, thinking that the future has to be perfectly mapped out, is because this biological response we have inside as a response to fight or flight, where we predict behaviors to keep us alive. And that is a function that we took on in the caveman days. And it served us so powerfully and so beautifully well by allowing our species to keep going, because we were able to connect the dots and say, if this happens, this will happen, then this will happen, then this will happen. So that serves us beautifully in keeping us alive in moments of danger, potentially. If you were out in the mountains, or if you were in a situation that really required it, your brain can function at a high level in that way to keep you safe. But when we're not trying to just stay alive, when we're just trying to be in the present moment, it's so important to not look through that lens of thinking that it has to be controlled, or thinking that we have to be able to fully understand and predict the outcome in order for it to be safe for us, or in order for it to be serving for us. I'm also very aware that some of the things that I'm sharing right now may feel not fully true on the first listen, may feel confusing, may not feel comfortable, and that's okay too. I'm just introducing the idea and plant it as a seed in your mind's eye, and maybe revisit it in the future when it feels like the right time, or when it feels like something you want to sink into. But I would like to hold those things at the forefront to just plant the seed as we have this conversation. So what does it mean to embrace the future? Well, from my vantage point and what I believe from the spiritual standpoint, it really means releasing attachment to outcome, releasing attachment from outcome. And so when we try to control, it's really just a beautiful words for trying to manipulate things in a way that make us feel comfortable and feel safe. And it's totally understood, and sometimes it serves us really well. But I'd also like to introduce the thought and idea that perhaps there is a life available for you that is so healed, is so full, is so nourishing, is so felt, that because of your past experiences, you may not even be able to fathom it yet. It may not even be something that your mind can naturally create because you haven't yet known it, which doesn't mean that it's not true, and it doesn't mean that it's possible. And so that's why I think it's really important that as we think about our futures, as we even prepare for our futures, that we don't have a rigid expression of it or a rigid hold onto it, because there are things that we cannot fathom. There are levels of love, there are levels of healing, there are levels of greatness that your mind, just simply based on your past, may not even be able to visualize. And that's okay, but that creates room for us to be able to be in a state where we're accessing that beautiful, pure potentiality that Deepak speaks to. And a book I highly recommend, especially if there is some tightness coming back into the world around this moment in time, around coming back and around all the things happening in the world. Deepak's book, The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire. It's a classic. It was a New York Times bestseller. I revisited it again after the pandemic, having read it years ago, and it was such a powerful reminder for me to dream the bigger dream and to really utilize my faith, my trust in myself, my trust in the universe as the guideposts and measuring sticks for that future of my life. So it might feel good to reread that if you already have it, or to pick it up. The Spontaneous Fulfillment of Desire by Deepak Chopra could be a really great companion on especially remembering how to expand your heart, how to expand yourself in this new season that we're in. So how can we embrace our future without getting stuck in it? We're not saying, when we think about embracing our future, and when we also think about relinquishing control, that doesn't mean that you can't have plans. It just means that, if someone asks you that question of where do you see your life in 5 years, it doesn't have to be, well, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and that will lead me to this, this, and this. It's creating those pockets that you don't have to influence. It creates that synergy so that the universe can swoop in all the ways that are meant for you in your dharma and fill up those pockets and fill up those spaces with the things you don't yet know. So to embrace your future without getting stuck in it, yes, you can absolutely plan, and you can make plans, and you can have dreams and visions that you're working towards. But it's also creating the space that you are supported in your dharma. You are supported in your life's calling. You're supported in the ways that you are meant to serve. So it's making plans, but it's also not thinking that if everything doesn't go perfectly according to the way you wrote it down or visualized it, that it's not going to happen or that it can't happen. It really is creating those pockets of the gap within your life. And in meditation, we know that gap to be that sweet spot in between your last thought and your next thought, where anything can be made manifest. So it's just creating a little more spaciousness around your plans, and especially not tying your emotions so deeply to a very rigid look, a structure, an outcome, so that you're not feeling disappointed or let down if things don't happen according to that plan. You can find the gift in some of the challenges that you'll face, and you can find the gift in some of the ways that things may begin to outcome. And so, a thought that comes up, anxiety is something that we are all beginning to understand quite a bit more. Very gratefully, the understanding of some of those responses that we have to stress, some of those experiences we have with depression, it's really being unpacked in a big way right now. And I feel so grateful for that, because those tools of knowledge of how our bodies are feeling are so powerful. I think oftentimes for many, anxiety tends to kick in, myself included sometimes, when there's a big project around the corner or a big deep desire in your heart, and when you think of it, and if it's especially in the process of unfolding or blooming, it brings anxiety. And the anxiety is rooted in the unknown. The unknown triggers the fears inside of us. So once we kind of get that ball rolling, it becomes this kind of snowball that we can't quite get a hold of after that. And so when we think about our anxiety, I think it's important to notice that feeling something like that or a similar feeling inside of you when you're thinking about your future, when you're thinking about your plans, or when you're thinking about potentially all the things that you don't know or that are unknown, it's important to listen to it, to notice it, but to also come into a space where you perhaps offer it the knowing that the reason you're feeling this is because you just don't know. The reason you're feeling this is because of fears, triggers, or coping mechanisms that are coming forward from past experiences. And I found for myself that when I'm able to call out that experience of anxiety in real time and also mirror it and reflect to it my rational cognitive understanding of what's going on, I'm able to soothe so much quicker, and I'm able to come back into my seat of power, into my seat of stability, into my seat of being a co-creator of what my future is becoming, and not just someone that's strapped into the roller coaster having no idea when it's going to drop or where it's going to go. So some small mental shifts can be really powerful in greeting that anxiety or greeting those fears of the unknown, of the future, when they come up, as they start to come up. What are some ways that we can get comfortable with the unknown? Well, something I speak to very often on here and also in my podcast and some of my other work is working deeply on creating a structure for your spiritual practice. So really creating a structure that's supportive of the flow of life that you're bringing forward. And so getting comfortable with the unknown becomes far easier if you're meeting your needs in various ways throughout your day. So a strong meditation practice, we definitely recommend that you meditate twice a day, in the morning and the early evening, late afternoon, for about 20 to 25 minutes each time. And that meditation practice really creates that spaciousness that I spoke to earlier, of creating those pockets for the universe to swoop in around your future, around your dreams, and around your current. And so a meditation practice, a journaling practice can be really supportive if you notice that there feels like a struggle is happening as it relates to thinking about your future. If there are some fears that start to come up for you, really greeting those fears and recognizing them instead of running from them and hoping that they'll mute themselves. Taking time to journal it out. And it doesn't have to be in that Dear Diary style. It can also just be bullet points. It can say, wow, today I noticed that when I think about this, my heart is beating really fast. Let me take a breath. How does that make me feel? Why? Why is that coming forward? Has that come forward in other times? Leaning into our self-inquiry in those moments can be really, really powerful tool for us to utilize. And also just noticing, journaling about your future, journaling about any fears or anxiety that come up, and then kind of working your way down. And at the bare minimum, that expression of thought, really bringing that into an expressed state, helps to alleviate so much of that, because we're able to come back into our rational understanding of what exactly is happening. Why am I going into that place? And I think, the benefits of making space in this way for the unknown, the benefits of expanding your heart into receptive flow for your future, is one, you really free up a lot of time. You free up so much of your own time. You invite more joy into your life, and you invite more gratitude into your life. And you also invite space for spontaneity, for the things, as I spoke to earlier, that you can't even fathom that are unfolding for you now, for the magic of your life to come out. You don't know everything. None of us do. We're just humans, and we just kind of got here. And to give ourselves that grace is really where so much power lies, and to take some of that pressure off of ourselves and just surrender to your dharma. Dharma, loosely translated from Sanskrit, is purpose. It's your life's truth. It's the deeper story being told. And so again, I want to reflect with that book that I recommended earlier, one of Deepak's classics, but I am finding it to be such a powerful tool, specifically for 2021, this moment in time, everything that we've come out of. The spontaneous fulfillment of desire will be so beautiful as you envision your new life, and as you also come into that benefit of how to make more space for your future, how to make space for the unknown, how to be comfortable while steeped in the unknown, which so many of us are right now. And how do we create a better and more aligned future? Set intentions. I have another video here in our Instagram TV is that you can check out under Self-Care Simplified that is about specifically intention setting, and another video that is about affirmation. So building a powerful affirmation around your intention. There's 2 other videos that you can check out here on that. But when you set an intention for your life, you allow that energetic flow to really kick off, and for that divine co-creation to start to take place, for the universe to sweep in and meet that desire, spontaneously fulfill that desire. And so really getting clear on what the intentions for your life are. Part of the fear and part of the challenge comes when we feel like we are not active participants in our own lives, that life is happening to us and not for us. And so then we think we're just, we're at the mercy of what street we happen to be on at the moment, and in reality, we can actually come into our own lives far more empowered, and be in that divine co-creation with spirit. And so to do that, start thinking, what is the life you want to feel like, from the macro to the micro? So think about the big vision of your life. Again, not with this strong attachment that that's what has to happen, but do start to daydream for that bigger life. And don't just wrap it around career. Don't just let it be, I want that promotion. I really want to have a job like this. I want to do that. That's powerful, but there's more. Think about, what do you want to cultivate inside of your own soul? What do you want to cultivate inside of your own heart? What do you want to cultivate inside of your home, inside of your mind, inside of your body? What do you want to feel? How could life have more ease? How could life feel more supportive for you? Start turning your wheels on those juicy thoughts, those areas of refinement, and just start keeping notes. Again, it doesn't have to be, unless you feel called, to the Dear Diary style. It can really just be rooted in bullet point. I would really like a life that feels like this. I want to feel free every day. I want to feel seen every day. I want to feel deeply connected to the people that I spend daily time with, whether at work or at home. It can also be, I want my body to feel better. I want to alleviate some physical pain. I want my brain to feel more nourished. I want my heart to feel more open. And for each of us, it could be very different. And that's why it's so important to also trust and connect to your own intuition. Your body knows, your mind knows, your heart knows, your soul knows what you need. You just have to give it a voice. And so writing it down can feel really good. Saying it out loud can feel really good. And when we get into that space, that creates the energy, the energetic potential for what we can call forward. And building that daily structure that's in support of that will be so monumentally nourishing and powerful, and really important for that leg of the journey. So to have that more aligned future, really come into this space of calling out what your deepest desires are, saying them out loud. You don't have to say them to other people. We don't always have supportive relationships in our lives in different seasons. Not everyone can fully fathom the calling on your life or the greatness that's available to you. And that's okay. That's their path, and that's okay. We don't have to judge that either. But you can do that for you. And be unafraid in your ability to speak your deepest needs and your deepest truth. And also write them down. Be heard, be fully expressed. Really kick it into drive, this greater vision, this greater understanding, this greater calling on your life and your path. So I hope that this was helpful today, embracing your future. We also have a meditation available, multi-part series called Embracing Your Life. So I highly recommend sinking into that. I think these meditations are right around 15 minutes. So you can listen to all the different parts on the same day, on different days. And feel free to revisit it regularly, even if you want to do them every day for a couple of weeks, the same ones. That can be really powerful. That's available on our app. Also, we've been speaking to this understanding for the whole month of August here and on Clubhouse. So you can check all of that out in the IG lives that are saved and in the Clubhouses we do on Thursday. Embrace your future. Embrace your future. Be an active participant in your life. It is not happening to you. It is happening for you. And you really do hold more power than maybe you even know. And so a great way to get started, start with some affirmations in your day. Start with the beautiful questions in meditation. Who am I? And don't try to fill that with an answer. Just let it be open. What do I really want? What do I really, really want? What is my dharma? What's my purpose? Asking the question, not filling it with an answer, but asking it, summing it forward. And then how can I serve? How can I serve? How can my gifts serve the world? How can my spirit serve the world? Start asking those questions and allow the space for the answers to come to you. Thank you for being here with me. Big love to everybody. Namaste. If you want to connect, I'm pinned at the bottom of this chat. Mwah.